General Custer was born in New Rumley, Ohio on December 5, 1839. Shortly into his childhood, he was sent to live with his older sister and brother-in-law in Monroe, Michigan. He attended McNeely Norman School and later received a teaching certificate. After teaching for a couple years, Custer decided he wanted to go to the U.S. Military Academy. Custer tried to get into the academy, but sadly didn't meet the qualifications. Custer then met a congressman and got a recommendation from him and was finally accepted into the academy. As he was attending school, he was shown to be a very poor student. He almost got expelled multiple times for being the class clown and playing many pranks on his classmates. Custer ended up graduating last in his class, but he graduated, which means when there was a need for commanders in the Civil War, he was called in. Custer was in command of the U.S. 2nd Cavalry as a second lieutenant. This is where he was known as a risk taker. He would lead his troops from the front instead of the back. Custer also loved the attention and spotlight. He started wearing a red neckerchief to stick out from everyone. None of his men questioned this because he gained all of their respect. Custer's first battle was the Battle of Bull Run. This is where General George McClellan noticed Custer and had him join him and his troops. They then fought in the Peninsula Campaign. When Custer went home on leave, he reconnected with Elizabeth from his childhood and fell in love. They got married in 1862. In 1864, Custer fought with a Major General, Philip Sheridan, in the Shenandoah Valley Campaign and grew his fame and spotlight even more when he was on the cover of Harper's Weekly. Custer was later transferred to Petersburg, and he and his men were a part of the Battle of Appomattox Courthouse, which had finally ended the war. Philip Sheridan gifted the Table of Surrender sign to Custer's wife for her husband's service in the Civil War. When the war was over, after Custer fought beginning to end, he came out with no scratches, and the saying, "Custer's luck," came to be. As soon as the war was over, Custer went to serve in the Southwest. This is where Custer and his troops started to not get along. This is when Custer thought about leaving the army and pursuing other careers in business. But then the new 7th U.S. Cavalry Regiment was made to go to the West. Custer became the lieutenant colonel. Later, Custer left his command to visit his wife without permission and got 1 year leave with no pay. Custer was back shortly after because Philip Sheridan fought for his return to help with the Indian Wars. Custer then led a raid on a Cheyenne camp along the Washita River. This was the Army's first victory and again increased Custer's fame that he thrived on. Later, Custer leaked details of Ulysses S. Grant's plan to the press, and Grant removed Custer immediately from command. He was then briefly arrested when Custer tried to return to his troops. High-ranking generals fought once again for his return, and Custer was back. Custer was searching with his troops and came across a camp, and he decided to split his troops into 3 different groups and hid the camp from different directions to ambush them. They went in the Battle of the Little Bighorn and never came out. There was suspicion that 2 commanders never went to help Custer but were at the camp, which means they aided in his death. Custer passed away at the age of 36. After his passing, there were numerous books and articles made about him. His wife, Elizabeth, spent the rest of her life writing books about her and Custer and passed away in 1933.